So as I've told you just now, we are now coming into the chapter on operating system. All right, we have discussed happily on the hardware and the input and output devices. I don't have computer over here, but basically we have the hardware. I've discussed hardware. We have the input and output devices, and now this is the next part where how you're going to interact with this hardware. Okay, we got this. We have learned about the hardware over here. Okay, the input and output we have learned how to compute, but the question here is how do we interact with this system? All right, those components. Remember the boring subject that the boring chapter that you have listened somehow in the video. We talk about how the memory works, right, and then how the CPU works. But the problem is how do we send in electricity current, all right, or how we operate the box of machine, all right, or the laptop or the computer. You cannot do it without the help of this operating system. All right, this one, what I try to do over here is the OS. All right, the OS actually helps us to help this user to interact with the hardware, and then you can do a lot of things through the OS. Okay, the definition of OS is like a middleman. All right, I'm speaking based on the layman term. You can get the real definition from the study kit. All right, everything that is solid, the definition, everything you can get from the study kit. What my role here is just to tell you what it is about, right? Then you can go back and maybe memorize the term. All right, I don't know how you do it. I got me to surprise, right? Most of you like to memorize, so you can go back and open up the study kit, and you can memorize from there the term. But the layman term is that OS is a middleman. All right, it's like a it's like an interface between the user and the hardware. All right, to interact. It's like an interaction between the user and the hardware. This is the kind of image. I think it's quite clear, right? What I'm talking about. Are you all clear? Any one of you don't know what is operating system? Can you put up your hand? No one, huh? If anyone don't know what is operating system, you put up your hand, I give you a prize. Anyone? You are. Where's that guy, Azad? Where's him? Azad? Are you Azad? Azad volunteered to be the class rep, right? No. Anyone of you don't know what is operating system? You can put up your hand. I think every one of you know what is operating system. All right. Basically, you see it. You have seen it. Have you seen it? Of course, you have seen it, right? Example is the window. Do we have the S, Windows or window only? With the S. Are you sure? Windows, right? I don't know. My brain cannot work already because I cannot remember. All right, we got Windows 11, right? The latest one. Okay, this is an example of the operating system. All right, if you are Microsoft, if you are using Microsoft, all right? Microsoft, is it Microsoft? I'm making nonsense over here. Forget about that, right? This one versus the Apple. You use the iOS, is it? Apple, the iOS, all right? I don't know because I don't use Apple. I'm not that rich. I mean, usually come to mind, right? Come to our mind. If you use Apple, you are in different world, all right? You stay in different world because you operate differently. I'm just joking, all right? Don't take that in heart. Because in terms of how the interface, later we'll look at more details, all right? The role of the OS, all right? You have different interface. You have different way of communication, all right? How are you going to communicate with the hardware? Is it different? At the end of the day, the interface might be different, but the output should be the same, all right? The output should be the same. And the difference is in terms of the programming language, all right? Also there will be a difference. Also, one more we got is all right, these are the three most famous, I would say. Do you know what's the one more example? We got the Windows, we got the iOS, and then we got the... Anyone want to give a challenge? Want to try? It's a penguin, you know penguin? You know penguin? You know penguin, huh? The icon is a penguin. You know? Okay, what is it? I think one of the guy over there, not the head, right? The guy with the spectacle. Yes, you. No. Or you just came, just still blank. Still blank. I don't know. Sometimes they don't want to. Anyone want to tell me what is the another one over here? Maybe I give you a hint. Start with L. Yeah? L? I think I know you, right? You are Linish, right? No, no. You are? Yeah? Levinish. You know the another one? Yeah? Yeah, the penguin one. Don't know. To my surprise, maybe you didn't. You don't like computer, is it? or you just buy your computer and then you use your computer. You don't care anything else. Play game or watch movie. What you use with your computer? You use your computer to watch movie or browse internet. Do assignment. The good student, right? You are all good students, right? How come the groups sit at the back there so fun one? Can I join you on top? Those group on the back one. Can you all come down here? Can you all come down here? those people are staying on top there. They are so happy, you know, right? No, later I will switch your place, all right? Halfway through the class, okay? Because otherwise, right, it's so good for you to sleep because the aircon is so nice. Outside is so hot. Suddenly come inside here. It's a fun place, all right? It's actually Linux, all right? Linux. Is it correct, the spelling? But somehow it's Linux as a penguin, all right? It's mostly focused on programming. Programmer, all right? Programmer will use this kind of OS. And that's all. Now you know that there is different types of example, all right? You got different types of operating system. And then you know that this operating system is some system, all right, or something that actually mediates, all right, we call it mediates, all right, orang tengah, all right, mediates between you and the system, all right. This is clear, all right. Is it okay? This is clear? You happy with this? Okay. Now we move into the second point, which is how, all right, like a big question mark, right? Another big question mark. How does this OS mediates? We talk about this OS as the center man, right? How, all right, how it do it? Or should I say what is the role? All right, what is the role? What is the role of this OS? All right, what is the role? So come down over here, we can see this is the first row. Of course, all of this is inside the certificate already, all right? Don't worry, it's inside the slide also, which I generated. The first row over here is the OS, right? We understand that the OS is a central person or something that is between you and the hardware. So the role of the hardware on doing performing this task, the first role is to ensure the what is the first thing this OS need to take care of? The OS need to take care of the components, right? They need to take care of this thing, all right? This thing over here, okay? They need to manage the hardware, right? They need to manage the hardware. Okay, you understand? I'm sorry, too loud already. Maybe got too excited. Is it too loud? This one? Okay, right? Okay. Because I remember last time lecture they shout very loud at the mic, and then the speaker at the end it destroy your eardrums. But anyway, come back here. The OS first role is to manage the hardware, right? We go into detail now, right? We go into the detail. The first one is the resource. Resource management. I'm learning my English. My English correct, right? We got the what is your name? I forgot already. Yes, your name. Yeah, band 5, right? Yeah, what's your name? Yeah? Suvidra, right? Suvidra is a band 5. Anyone band 5 and band 6? Muella, I'm saying the English language. So can check my spelling, is it correct or not, right? First role is resource management, okay? You can see over here, the OS to allow you to interact with the computer. The OS, the first role is to manage the resources, the computer itself, all right? Manages the resources, the computer itself. We got the first over here is the CPU, okay? The OS, this operating system, all right? It will manage the CPU by scheduling what this CPU should do, all right? That's the first thing, okay? Resource management is trying to ensure that all the hardware is being managed correctly, okay? So which data should enter or how it should process is schedule the CPU. Then we have the, what some more? The hardware itself, the input and the output management, okay? Which means this OS also manages the keyboard, all the input management, and then all the printing, all right, all those instructions. This OS will be like a middle person for you to interact with, and then this OS will manage it accordingly. And of course, it is not by doing the tracking and the allocation, which is the system resource. All right, allocating and tracking the system resource. Example, the memory. All right, this operating system will go into the computer. It will allocate the memory accordingly. What is this, right? Allocate what memory? So example, when you want to use a computer to do computation, all right, simple, all right, 1 plus 1. Okay, 1 plus 1. Then this OS will take a bit of the RAM, all right, which is the random access memory from the computer, and then it will put it to this, it will execute, all right, it will call the CPU to execute the process, and you will get the output. All right, resource management. So, and then at the same time, maybe you run other things. You browse internet or you watch movie. All right, you watch movie at the same time. What do you do? You watch movie at the same time. You do assignment. Good, you do that, now ChatGPT, right? So use the Microsoft Word skill that I teach you, perfect your assignment, all right? So that it doesn't look straight away copy from the ChatGPT, all right? Okay, so we have this over here, which is the CPU scheduling. I input and output management, and it tracks and allocates the resources, all right? Which is the first row for this operating system, all right? Operating system, over there I put in 5 rows, all right? We have just gone through the first row. Let me see how long already. I don't want this to go over 20 minutes, or I don't want it to go too long, right? I am cutting the recording accordingly because I am too lazy to edit later on. So just edit this, I just want to post it up. And of course I don't want to post in a lump, in a chunk, right? Okay, the first one is resource management. Very simple, just the hardware only. Actually these 3 are interrelated, all right? We will see later, okay? These 3 rows are interrelated. Okay, they are interrelated means they are connected, all right? These 3 rows. So the second row here is what we have, the process management. Okay, see this one should be the process lah. This is what I'm saying, process management. I'm just trying to be artistic over here. The certificate is very boring, full of words. The slide also very boring, full of words. So over here, I just want to put some symbols or some icon for you to illustrate this for you. So, of course, the operating system. Now we have already talked about the hardware, how it actually manage the hardware, the resources. All right, we call this resources. All right, how it already manage the resources. We look into the process. Okay, when you boot up the computer. Later we'll talk about the boot up process. Once you boot up the computer, you enter the system. There will be some process that the OS will do. All right, not do. All right, that will create. All right, you will start certain program. Then the process will start accordingly. Do you know that? I think you are smart enough, right? If you go to your computer, you use Control-Shift-Delete, is it? Or Escape? Control-Shift or alternate, Control-Alternate and Delete. Then you prompt up a task manager, right? Then when you click on the task manager, you can see what type of process. Should I say that it's a process? Because the term is very interconnected, right? It's interconnected. But you can basically start and end the task. All right, you can start task and you can end task from the task manager. But coming over here, this is one of the role of the operating system. All right, one of the role of this operating system is to over here start and end, or they call it create process or terminate process. Process over here can be anything. All right, it can be to start up the network connection. All right, it can be to start up the driver connection, all right, or to start up certain things. Or when you open up the Microsoft Word, then the process might be to create or to start the Microsoft Word, all right? And then when you terminate, then you can terminate, all right? Terminate means you close, all right? When you close, or it can be terminate. Like system update, somehow I remember last time when I have a very lack or a very a very lousy computer lousy computer, lousy, a less efficient computer, right? Then I will open up the taskbar and then try to terminate which of the process that I don't want. All right, certain process, if you open up the taskbar, you feel that it's useless, like printer, all right? Somehow you install the printer already, but you don't have the printer with you now. It is in the house, all right? So you try to stop from the process. Also, the role of this CPU, I'm talking about OS, right? The role of this OS in the process management is to also coordinate the state of the process, all right? Whether it is running, whether it is a freeze, whether it is created or stopped, all right, which is terminated. And also we look at the process scheduling. Which process should go first, which process should not be the priority, all right, and so on, all right, process scheduling. Okay. Lastly over here, the management, before we move into, I just did that one. Let me just go into here, all right, is okay, now you look at this one, all right, the OS, we got the hardware, take care of the hardware already, right? The process means inside already, we are playing with the computer now, right? Then to play with this computer, we must have the, over here is something to do with the memory, all right? You need to have the memory management, all right? So memory management is very simple. Basically, this OS will take care, all right? It's the same over here, resource management. But when we talk about memory management, we focus into the how much memory will be used for certain program, all right? As the schedule or the allocation. They call this the correct term is allocation. How much allocation of memory will be given for certain program, all right? Or certain process, okay? So another role of this, to allow you to interact with the hardware, it's not a simple process, right? The OS is not a simple, although we didn't see anything about the OS, right? But the OS actually have this different role, all right? For you to interact with the computer. So another one over here is the memory management. So to ensure that the physical memory and the virtual memory, they will actually coordinate, all right? They will coordinate and allocate accordingly to the process, all right? To the process or to the program or to whatever task, right? That has been given to this that you have interacted with, all right? That you have commanded the computer to do. And also at the same time, this memory management in this area is to ensure that the memory is not, what happened? So let's say if over here, if it's for program A, you use memory 1, and then program B, you use a little bit chunk from memory 2, okay? Then if program A or the process A uses the memory from 2, all right, the OS role is to prevent, all right? It prevents or it ensures that the memory is protected. So meanwhile, you open up Microsoft Excel, you use maybe the first chunk, all right, of the memory or the RAM. All right, the RAM is a random access memory. Random access memory is for you to process or to program lah. If you remember the CPU, how it fetch, you remember the CPU processor, how it instruct. So that's the part where the first part, the memory that will be allocated for the program. Okay, this memory will be saved or it will be locked for the Excel only. So it will not suddenly this chunk of memory cannot be used for other things. All right. I mean, if you watch movie, then you will have the second chunk of the memory. And if somehow the OS mess up this, it shouldn't mess up lah, right? The OS role is to ensure that the Excel use the first chunk, then the video use the second chunk of the memory. All right, these are the role of the operating system. All right, the memory management, which is allocation, and memory protection. All right. Okay, now we talk about this one. All right. This is a simple statement. All right. So over here is the resource. So we can see resources are allocated to process, which then require memory. I think I have a memory, right? Memory. Correct? Is it my memory correct? My spelling for the memory is correct, right? Memory. To store instruction and data during execution. All right, these are a simple illustration that I want to put across this tree and how this OS, you interact with the OS. All right, basically it's a resource allocated to the process, which then requires memory to store instructions and data during execution. All right, this statement over here summarizes up the first three roles of the OS. All right, now we have already done with this system from the background. These are all the background process of the OS. Okay, background process of OS. Then we look at in detail on another two more roles. Then I will give you the break. All right, I'll give you a break. Should I give you a break? Break for a while after this. All right, I'll give you a break for a while, so that you can go and scream outside. All right. If you don't understand what I'm trying to say, you can go and scream outside. All right, or you don't know why you're attending this class. All right, you can go and scream outside if you want to. All right. Another two more roles over here that I put is the over here is when we move into detail already. All right, we move into the OS. All right, you look at the three role, main role. Then we got the security. All right, we got this. Okay. Are you excited to get the break? So security on this OS is very simple. You can picture it by yourself. When you're on the computer, we haven't talked about the booting process. I think booting process is over here below, which we'll talk about later. Right? Once it boot up the computer, then you will first come into the login screen, right? Whether you have password or don't have password, you'll go into the login screen, right? Don't have password, you straight away enter, is it? I forgot already. Or you still need to click in the user. All right, if you have multiple users, so basically the role of this OS is to come up with the user control. All right, control first. All right, user control. So you can set up different control. Admin, if you if you see certain computer like in the lab, right? Remember those who have already went for the lab yesterday, all right? There will be different user, so you can set different user, and then you can set the authentication or the password. All right, authentication or the password. These are all the role of the OS, all right, to ensure security. What some more did I miss out over here? Pretty much the background or the backbone of the security of your files, folder, programs, everything, all right, will be the role of this, it will be one of the role of the operating system. And Windows 7, I think Windows 11 above, right? Windows 11, there will be integrity memory, all right? You can further enhance the system security by clicking on that. But once you click on that, means you cannot install cracked software already, all right? Or you cannot, you cannot install cracked software. You know what's called cracked software, right? Better don't teach you all. Okay, then what is this person that it came lousy? I think you already know, right? Basically, one of the role besides the three management just now, beside the management role, is to ensure security, all right? To ensure that the your data is secure, your computer is secure, all right? Then we come into the final role of this OS is the, what is this? The user interface, all right? Let me just write over here, user interface or face? I've got face, right? Face. Interface. Is it correct? Interface, right? Interface. Right? User interface. This is what happens when your brain cannot work well, all right? So, one of the role of the operating system is also to provide you with a user interface. User interface is straight away when you open your computer on a startup, right? Correct word. Straight away when you start up your computer, you can see there's an interface for you, all right? I mean when you enter to after you access your login, all right? After you access your login, then you will see a user interface, all right? Then there's two user interface. One is the command, and then one is the graphic, all right? So certain people, all right, the programmer, they would like to use the computer based on the command, all right? They type commands and then to interact with the hardware, all right? They type commands instead of the graphic that we see usually, all right? Those kind of icons, then you can double click, open up those icons, right? Those are the graphic interface. Then there's another one, which is the program or the command interface, all right? The OS role is to provide you with a user interface to interact with the hardware, all right? That's it. Class is not end yet, all right? Class is not end yet. You can have the